Okay, so let's just get started, everybody. I want to welcome everyone to our second interview with Ensemble Theatre. I'm so excited. First, I'll tell you my name. I'm Victoria Watson, and I have been working here at Houston Methodist for 12 years, and I'm the proud chair of Black Ties for Culture. And MJ Gallup is here as well. He's not on camera, but he's with CPAM, the Center for Performing Arts and Medicine. And we wanted to make sure that we expose everyone to the arts. And one hidden treasure we have here in Houston is the Ensemble Theatre. And I wanted to make sure that we here in Houston Methodist, we are aware of this jewel, and we want to make sure we unearth it. So everyone who loves the arts like me and thinks you have to go either to Hollywood or go somewhere to go see a play on, Broadway. No, we have it here in Houston. We have amazing actors and actresses here in Houston. So we just right around the corner from where we live. So let's get started. Let's get into this. So first I want to start this with letting you all know a little bit about the Ensemble Theatre, and then we'll jump right into this interview. The Ensemble Theatre is one of the few professional theaters in the region, and it's dedicated to the production of works portraying African-American experience. It is the oldest and the longest professional African-American theater in the Southwest, and it holds the distinction of being one of the nation's largest African-American theaters, owning and operating its facility and producing in-house. So that means we hire in Houston, and we don't have to look anywhere else. We look Houston and the surrounding areas, and I think that's amazing. So to get started, I have the privilege of getting to know Miss Eileen Morris, and we interviewed before. The last time I interviewed you, it was for the Lawsons, a civil rights love story, and I have this right here to prove that I went to go see it. It was an amazing play. I loved every second of it. I learned a lot about my hometown, Houston, a lot of things that I didn't know about Houston, I learned about. And now we are talking about the play, Single Black Female. Again, I went to see it. This is proof. Single Black Female. So, Eileen, okay, I'm going to talk to all of you, but I wanted to let you know, Eileen, so this was so different, of course, than the Lawsons. It was different in an amazing way, of course, like night and day, but it was amazing. But I also felt drawn into it, and I felt connected to it. And I wanted to ask you, first of all, how is it switching from a more history-based play that you just finished to a play such as this, which is more so everyday life and talking about as Black women, the things that we go through? How is it switching so quickly between those type of genres?
You see all of the women that have been involved in this play, our mouths are like wide open because of the fact that it was such a big difference. First of all, hello, everybody. Thank you so much, Ms. Victoria, for having the Ensemble Theatre be a part of this journey. We love talking about what we love, and what we're passionate about, which is our art. And yes, it's definitely two different types of work. And a historical piece of work in which the icons, one of the icons, Reverend Lawson, is still living and on earth with us. That's a lot of pressure. But the thing is that, you're always just true to the story. Just tell the story. And that's what we found with Single Black Female. We all told our own stories to each other. We shared a lot during rehearsal, probably more than they cared to hear from my perspective. I loved hearing their perspectives about things. I learned a lot. It was intergenerational, I found, during the rehearsal time. So we had a lot of fun. And that's the thing I think that about making art is that find out the truth of what that story is saying, and then you just let it live and breathe and be what it is. Dr. Thompson has written such poignant words that are relevant still today, and that we all have gone through as women, whether you're married, in a relationship, single, divorced, widowed, whatever that is, you have gone through something. And the men that have been involved in our lives, we found men that have said things that, oh yeah, I know about that because of my mate or my sister or someone else. So men have related to it too. And that's the beauty of, I think, what art does for all of us. It gives a kind of a wide perspective, a wide net that's being thrown out there.
I can see that. Definitely can see that how the theme of the play is definitely relational. You don't have to be a single Black female to be able to relate to a lot of the scenes in the play. And I wanted to ask you, Dr. Thompson, when you wrote this play, what was the inspiration behind the play? I can imagine it was you wanted to tell our story, but was there something a little bit deeper that you wanted to bring out, or something? Because it's got a lot of humor in it. I found myself cracking up at some times, probably that I shouldn't have been laughing about, but it was just funny. So what was your inspiration behind this?
I want to thank you for having me on, and also I want to pay homage to the legend on this Zoom. Eileen is a force within the national theater circles, and I wanted to. It's a thrill to me to finally have one of my pieces up there. I hope it's not at the last one. But Single Black Female, I wrote when I was a graduate student at Stanford, while I was working on my dissertation about Black middle class women's sexuality and their trying to navigate the world. And I felt that what was missing from all the representations of Black middle class women was something that was coming up in my research, which was the fact that they are full dimensional beings that actually have romance and sex and want those things for their lives, and the notion that they have to be the pillars of the community and deny that. So I think this is all before Mary Jane, before Insecure, before all that. It was 24 years ago almost when I wrote this. Yes.
24 years ago?
Yeah, almost. It was 98. Yeah. When it was, and it was directed by Coleman Domingo, who was the first play he ever directed. And so we were all running around San Francisco and making art, having fun with Eileen. Said, that's the thing that which you love to do, speaks for you. And what you mentioned about being universal, when it was in Los Angeles, a couple I talked to, older white gay men who said they saw themselves. So I always tell people, in the specific is the universal. So if you have a married gay couple who've been together like 40 years saying they saw themselves in this piece, then my work is done. So it's just, and I wanted to also circle back to something deeper than that. There's nothing more deeper than our stories, as they come. Our stories are deep, are everyday, are quotidian, as they say this in the bougie lingo, but basically our everyday lives are really epic. In fact, I tell my students all the time that when they're struggling, I'm like, somebody in your family survived the Middle Passage. That's what's in you. So we are amazing, mighty, mighty people. And even and by the way, Victoria, humor is my superpower. So that's my way. Making people laugh, they fall forward when they're laughing, and then I got you now. And now I'm gonna tell you that now I'm gonna get you together. So this is part, I realize now, a trilogy about Black middle class single women. The monologues is the second one, and it's been running now in DC. And I now think I'm envisioning the final chapter of this. The third one will be about a woman in her 60s. Is she getting married for the first time? So watch out for that one.
Yes, we need that here. We need that here. Absolutely. Okay, well, it's interesting that you mentioned some of the kind of the throwback, I guess, TV shows or something that way. Because when I imagine it, when I was thinking about this play, I remember it's like a mashup between Living Single, and if anybody remembers Living Single, and then a little bit of For Color Girls, and then a little bit of more modern, Insecure. The show Insecure, there was a little bit of all of that in there. And the fact that you did this 24 years ago, you wrote it 24 years ago, and it's still so relevant, that just speaks volumes about the timelessness of the play that you've created. So kudos to you. Congratulations. Thank you so much for bringing this to us. So let's jump into the cast real quick. I want to make sure we give all of you a time to share with us some of your insights. So ladies, Dakina, is that how Dakina and Crystal?
Yeah.
All right. So first of all, I have to say that you guys, like, of course you are the play, but you made the play. I was really impressed by both of your performances. It was unique. Your characters are funny, unique. Your timing, your chemistry together was, I thought, I'm like, they must be best friends. Like they got to be best friends, because the way you're just played off of each other was amazing. I was telling Miss Eileen that my original idea was I wanted to go to the set and sit on the couch and chill out with you all and just have a relaxed interview, because the set was just that inviting and it looks like a house that I would want or that I would have. So ladies, I want to ask you, I'll start with you, Crystal. Crystal, I found myself wondering what you were going to do next. I found myself uh, seeing your character, seeing myself in your character, but then also you was, and I'm not going to give it away, but I see you switching up characters abruptly. And I'm like, wait, what just happened? And you switch in and out of a female version and then the not female version so seamlessly. Is that your superpower? Like that, I don't know how to do that. And I thought that was amazing how you did that. And it was so realistic. And that's what made me laugh mostly, because I'm cracking up about how well you did that.
Thank you. You're kind. Can you come with me everywhere? Thank you guys for having me. I'm just honored. Yeah, I like to tease that the stuff I got spankings for is the stuff I get paid for now. You would not have liked to have that to teach me in kindergarten and first grade and second grade, college. I just love watching people, and I love watching how people move through the space. I mean, silly things like how people walk when they feel comfortable, and then how they scurry across the street when they think a car is coming, and you can tell their body doesn't usually scurry. I love those things. I like when people shrink, when they kind of try to tell you that they don't mean to interrupt you, but they're going to anyway. Like I love that. And in this play, we get a chance to wear so many different people's skin, and peeling off and putting on skin not quickly is my happy place. I am a people watcher, and this show, when I read it, I was like, wait, no, really? Yes! Like, it was just opportunity after opportunity to find new ways to put on different people's hats. And that's always a joy of mine. So I think people like me call themselves character actors. I love Lucille Ball and Jim Carrey. I think they're fabulous. And I feel like if they were to reproduce children, they'd look like me. So anything that's silly and over the top, I'm kind of happy in. Yeah, I'm super grateful for this process. It's one of the reasons why I really am grateful to be on stage doing this, because the Lawsons was very naturalistic and very realistic and honest, and you know what I mean. You played your role, and it was. But in this play, I get a chance to, 1 minute I'm here and I'm there and I'm everywhere, and then wait a minute, hold on, and then you jump back into something else, and it's just, and then after a while, you just go, okay, oh, this is what we're doing. And I'm grateful for Miss Eileen, who just goes, that's a choice, Crystal. All right, and Dakina is fast as can be. Y'all, you ever work with somebody who's just brilliant, and it just calls you to either quit or be brilliant, like do or die? That's Dakina. It is so beautiful. And I don't do a whole lot of quitting. So that opportunity to do or die. There is no shyness about Dakina, and it is just not shyness with art, not shyness with just, there's like a piece about, this is what I'm offering today, Dakina, and it's just like, okay, well, this is what I'm, you just, and not competition in a negative tear down way, but hey guys, we're going up to the 12th rung. Oh, really? I've only been to rung 2. And then you get an opportunity to just climb the ladder and see new things because of other people's skill and a willingness to dive. And so I appreciate that. And that whole process has called me and asked me to go up to higher rungs, and when you're with a really strong director and a really beautiful castmate and crew that are willing to say, okay, Crystal, how many things are you going to ask for? And I need a prop for this. But everybody says we're going up together, then it feels limitless. And I think that that's been the most beautiful part of this process. So I'm grateful.
Well, it worked. It absolutely works. And Dakina, Miss Dakina, I have to say that when I first met your character, I was like, I know women like that. I'm usually not friends with women like that. I'm just being honest. That's what went through my head. But then the more you played, I was like, she's cool. She's funny. Okay, I'm kind of like that too. And I was able to relate to both of your characters. And I love that they're totally different women, because Crystal, you played more of a, okay, I'll just do this. I'll say you're more of a Delta, and Dakina, you're more of an AKA. How about that? That's how I'm gonna describe you, okay? But you're good friends and you got each other's back. And one of my favorite scenes is when Dakina's character, and by the way, what I loved that Lisa did, she didn't give you names. So it's not like I could actually refer to you. So it made it open to where it felt like it could be me. But there's a scene that I will give away where Tahina's character goes to the gynecologist. That's my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Come on, Houston Methodist. Of course, the doctor scene would be at the top of the list. Y'all better go ahead and make it plain who y'all are.
Not for the reasons you think, though. Not for the reasons you think. I love that particular scene because not only was it hilarious, so I'll let you all know, those of you who have not seen the play and want to go see the play, I'll give you this little snippet. There is a hilarious scene where Dakina's character, she's a single woman, and she goes to the gynecologist for feminine reasons. And we've all been there for our yearly. So, women who, we've all been there. But it tells the perspective of Dakina, but then also the doctor, which is played by Crystal Ray. It's her perspective too. And you can hear what she's thinking. And it's the doctor's perspective who's having to treat this single Black woman for certain things. And the dialogue back and forth is hilarious because I've always wondered when I'm on the back and I've got this sheet and I'm like, we all hate this. What is this doctor thinking about me right now? And Lisa actually wrote what the doctor's thinking. So how was that? Were you able to relate to that, Dakina, when you did that scene? Was that really relatable for you? Because I know I'm not going to overtalk this, but as Black women, we often have to fight against certain stereotypes that may make us not want to go to the doctor when we really need to. So tell us about your perspective on that, Dakina.
Yes, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for having me as well. This is such a treat and an honor, and I'm just so grateful to be here. And yes, extremely relatable. I mean, that scene, honestly, it was only up until opening night that I was able to get through it without laughing hysterically at Crystal Ray. She just is phenomenal throughout the play, but particularly in that moment, we just went there. We were, at first I was afraid of it a little bit too, because I'm not nearly as open as the play is written in public and ready and willing to talk about certain things and in an open setting. So I even was just like, whoa, okay, Miss Thompson, let's go, let's do it. But it was so much fun, and to be able to have a scene partner that you trust to go there with. And I was laughing. I would get through my lines and then I would just laugh at Crystal. And so thank God we finally got to a place where we could kind of stay in character by the time we opened, because it was just so great and so deliciously funny and so relatable. It was just the fact that it was written so well and so relatable that we couldn't hold our characters for a long time. But but yeah, it's so real. That's what I love about it. The realism of it, and the boldness, the bravery of the writing is what makes it so much fun, and so great for us to build characters with. And we go there and the audience loves it. I couldn't believe how many men love the show, but especially that scene, because they are just like, yep, that's exactly what my wife or my girlfriend goes through. And I have to hear about that all the time. And so, it's really great to actually experience the audience loving and living in that moment with us as we go along that journey, especially in that scene, because it's just so raw and so great. But yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Dakina, thank you for putting yourself in such a vulnerable spot.
Thank you.
Yes, I
Look,
appreciate
I'm
it.
like my character would not typically be my friend either, honey. I'm right there with you. So that makes me feel good. I'm doing my job. But I love that Miss Thompson wrote it in a way that, definitely the having the no names, that was our first question for her, actually, when we've had our first Zoom with her. And it helped a lot, because it's kind of like that thing that we Black girls have, that dual personality. We are each other. We are mirrors of each other, as Miss Thompson so beautifully wrote. And because I am, the AKA of Crystal's Delta, I am her confidant, and yet still her alter ego, as Miss Lisa characterizes my character, SBF2. So we were really trying hard and working hard to grasp that idea and to be able to portray it as real as possible. So it warms my heart, and it makes me feel so great as an artist with this piece, especially because it was difficult to find. To know that you got it means a lot to me, and I'm sure to Crystal, because we really we really worked hard to go there. So thank you for affirming that for us. Yeah.
Can I say this one thing about that scene, and particularly because it's the Zoom we're on, dealing with people who are in the medical profession, is that it was really important for me to make that intervention, and looking, decades later now, about more getting out about how Black women are dealing with medical discrimination, and that we're suffering from maternal mortality, particularly in the state of Texas, at atrocious rates. So it was important for me to give people information in a way that's not wonky, but actually something they'll be open to. We realize, oh, this is how Black women feel, that the provider is thinking. Sometimes the provider is thinking those things because we see it play out in terms of our outcomes, but sometimes that's not going on. But just to have that conversation is really important to me, and navigating that, and having maybe providers don't get a chance, especially if they're not men, to know how vulnerable people are in those. And my favorite part of that scene is about the stirrups and all that whole thing. So
Yes.
it makes me laugh when I get in those. I'm like, you know what? You didn't think through this. This was not designed by a woman. And so anyway, so that I won't say more, but thank you for, and I'm gonna have to hop off because I have another meeting, but thank you for having me. And thank you to the Ensemble Theatre for presenting my work. And if I can do anything, I'm directing for the first time right now. So I'm working late nights, and I'm going to have to call Eileen for advice about directing. Get off book, people, help me.
Eileen was saying that to us.
Well, I'm wordy in my work.
Yep.
Someone's really wordy. I'm like, I'll send you this. It's wild. Anyway, but I applaud them, and I want you to have finished the run and have a wonderful time bringing these Black women to life.
Thank you, Dr. Thompson. Thank you so much for joining us very quickly today. Appreciate it.
Yes, thank you so much. And we hope to see some more of your work soon.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you. All right. Okay, so we'll continue. So ladies, this is a question that I have for anyone, and anyone can answer this question. So as we all know, the term strong Black woman. I don't really know where that came from. I don't know who coined it first, or why we even have to own that. But the play does a beautiful job of showing strong Black women who are independent, who are financially sound in their own way, at the same time, as the characters reveal themselves, there are certain vulnerabilities that come out in their individual characters. And that, I think, was brilliantly written, because it helps you kind of slough away that myth. It helps kind of put a chink in that armor of expecting us to be a certain way. Is this something that, and anyone can ask a question, is this something that you have felt the pressures of having to be a strong Black woman in your personal life? And if so, did you put that in this play? Were you able to put that in your character, and did that make it easier for you to perform your character, or did you find it as a struggle because maybe you don't really relate to that? What do you think?
I think the phrase
Yeah.
is a double-edged sword. Sorry, Dakina.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'll go after you.
I think it's a double-edged, catch-22 of sorts. I mean, certainly I don't know that I want to be called a weak Black woman by any stretch. I think what I'd like to see of the art in Single Black Woman and peripherally in my own life is a prism effect, that the light shooting through the prism of my personality, and you get all kinds of things. You get the red, you get the purple, you get the orange, you get the yellow. You get all of those things seen depending on how you turn and rotate my story in the light. And I'm hoping that when life is hard and it requires of me strength, I can give that. And that when life needs me to bring joy and laughter to the room, I have it available within the cup of who I am. It's not me becoming a new person or a different person. It is what is needed in the situation, that I have the grace and the wisdom to know how to turn and pivot and to respond well and with wisdom. I think strong Black woman is just one color within the spectrum of what we can bring to the space. I do think we can get comfortable with one color. And we can get comfortable with one shade, and that thing can become a name tag instead of it being within the full realm and spectrum of who we are as people. I think the play does a good job, just like you said, of allowing us to show all the brilliance instead of just standing in one hue of, quote, angry or disrespectful, right? Like we have an opportunity to show without apology the variance of character, which we get to see from other cultures and expect, but I don't know that we always get to see it from people who look like me. And so I'm happy to bring to the stage other shades of the beauty that we are as women and people.
That was
Absolutely.
rich. That was rich. Thank you so much. Dakina, what's your perspective on that?
And that was very rich. And just to piggyback on that, I for me personally, I love how the script, it gives us the freedom to come out of just being stigmatized as that one strong Black female. I forget, there was a celebrity recently, I forget exactly who it was, but they were saying we've got to shed that, because we've it's been put on us by society to be the strong Black woman, and when we're not, it's demonized, and automatically we are weak when we show our other sides. And so I love that about the play. It helps us to not only highlight, but to celebrate the fact that we are complex beings, and that we shouldn't always have to be strong in order to be seen as strong. And we're able to be vulnerable. I mean, Black women in our highest moments are maternal and emotional and loving. And I love the fact that we go there and we have the moment where where we say all of our mothers and grandmothers were strong Black matriarchs, but then we get to cry and show our vulnerability later when we're talking about love and being rejected and not being seen, which is something we struggle with on a daily basis. I definitely had to bring that to the play, to my character, just in remembering, just in this business alone, how many times I've had to say, yes, I'm a Black woman. Yes, I am talented. Do you see me? Do you actually see me? And not just see me for artificial purposes, but I want you to see my talent, and that has been such a painful fight for me just in this business alone. That I was definitely happy to have a character and a play and a script that I was able to bring those emotions into. But the complexities of us as women, and especially as Black women, and all of the impact that society puts on us when it comes to, having to be strong, but also feeling like we have to hide when we're not, it can be tragic, and it can be really detrimental when it comes to our growth. And I love that it gives us a moment to stand in the strength of not always having to be strong in this particular script. It's really great.
Absolutely. And I hear what you say when you talk about we take on these roles, and we don't ask for the roles, but we take on these roles of being strong or being this or being that. And we tend to also put those roles on each other. There is a scene that I really appreciated where Crystal's character it's a holiday, and she's been visited by one of her female relatives. And she's being asked basically, when are you going to get married? When are you going to have some kids? And when is this going to happen? And you can tell her character is like, I don't need this right now. Like, I'm already thinking about this stuff, and you're making this worse to my already biological clock that's ticking. And I'm trying to, maintain all these areas in my life. And it was really interesting to see how not only do we put these pressures on ourselves, but our family can put pressures on us. Society puts pressures on us that it can make it really difficult to shed these pressures. Miss Eileen, I have a question for you in particular. How challenging was it to incorporate the realness of what Black women experience every day, but then also keep that fine line between the humor that you want us to see, but not make a joke of it? Sometimes our pain can be made a joke of, or satire can be made of our pain. But this play does a great job of showing us that you can laugh about it, but at the same time, it doesn't lose its serious edge. You've done a really good job in directing that. How difficult was that to do when you've got humor balancing the seriousness of the topic?
I'm going to say two things. First of all, I wanted to just add something, if you don't mind, to what you were saying earlier about the holiday scene in which Crystal Ray's character was being asked the poignant question, so to speak, from the auntie. And, and you're right about putting pressure on yourself, and also others putting pressure on you, because out of all those things that the auntie kept saying to her, when are you going to get married? And what are you going to do here? And then Crystal Ray's character says, but auntie, I just graduated, and I did my thesis, and I have my doctorate. And none of that mattered, that the woman went to the highest level of education that she could get. Hallelujah. It didn't matter because you're not married and you don't have children yet. Right. So I think that that what we all feel, and a lot of the things that we talked about within the rehearsal process, to me, that's where the work happens. That's where the uncovering and the beauty and the discoveries happen. That's why I love rehearsal so much, because you get to unpack all of those things. And you're right, all of us have certain things that we're a little nervous about, or you have to share, you have to expose yourself so much with your castmates and with the other artists that you're involved with, and with the director. And so we had to expose ourselves. We had to give personal experiences that we could relate to. So when I think about what you're asking about, how is it to be able to portray these different women, it's different characters, and still be honest, because it's humor in it. Rob Penny, who's a playwright out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and he was a very close writer friend of August Wilson. He used to say that that theater and the art is not just one thing. It's not just drama. It's not just comedy. It's the coexistiveness of the two, humor and seriousness, because that's the way life is. Life, you know, you could be in the most serious of moments. If everybody would just take a beat and think about something that was so serious for you and it was painful, but then something happened. I don't know, it could be the most craziest thing. And for me, I always get the image of Mary Tyler Moore, because I loved that show. Mary Tyler Moore was at the funeral of Chuckles the Clown, who was one of the people that was had a television show during the time when she was on air. And Chuckles the Clown's funeral was happening, and they would start telling all these jokes about Chuckles being too big, his big clown feet couldn't fit outside the casket. All of this stuff started happening in the middle of they were saying this prior to the funeral, but she thought, oh, you shouldn't be talking about him like that. This is a serious moment. But in the middle of the funeral, those comments started coming back in her mind, and she started like just laughing to herself at the funeral. And everybody kept looking at her like, this is not the place for that. But her mind went back to them and what they had been saying, and she couldn't help it until she finally just bust out loud in the middle of this funeral. And you just think about the fact that seriousness and humor go together. You know, it's like, you know, eggs and bacon or turkey bacon or whatever it is that you eat. It's something that always matches up because it's how life is. Life is that kind of coexistiveness. And if we look at it like that, then I think, first of all, there wouldn't be as much pain in the world that happens. People wouldn't react so intensely or violently. The world could be a better place if we just looked at it and understood. I'm misty thinking about this, that we can make a difference in the world if we wouldn't take things so, if we would just like be at peace, breathe. That's the other thing. If we would just breathe for a moment and let life do as it's going to do.
Wow, that's big. That's big. Let life do what it's going to do. And I think when you were talking, Ms. Eileen, I couldn't help but think that our culture tends to do that very well. We have a history of pain and of not being included. We have a history of playing in roles and spaces and places that we don't want to. And we have a very unique way of bringing humor to things that aren't otherwise funny. And so I love that Dr. Thomas was able to bring that into this play. And it made topics that could be uncomfortable. So for people who are not Black or non-melanated people, it made topics that could be uncomfortable. It made it so relatable to where we all just laughing and we're able to see that, you know, that side of it. So this type of play, I heard Dr. Thomas say that there is a trilogy. So are there are other parts to this play, and do you know about those parts, and where do these characters go from here?
Well, I think that
and I don't mean to put you on the spot if you don't know about that, but
no,
okay.
Not at all. I think it's a couple of things. One, we were really, because of the fact that we were trying to reduce some of the time of the play, there were at least 2.5 scenes that we did not do in the play. Am I right? Maybe 1.5 scenes that we didn't do, Mr. Keena, in the play. And so that's what she means about that. And then she has to play the mama monologues that she wrote, that she's getting ready to send me the script, that deals with another aspect, the next journey of it. And so that's what she's talking about. And so I told her, I said, oh, we're gonna, because this play has been on my radar for years. It's just about finding, the thing about choosing a season is finding the right timing, the right balance of what that show is with other shows that you picked for the season. And so it really worked itself out that this was the time for it, especially in celebration of the Ensemble Theater's 45th anniversary season. And just so you know, Mr. Keena Moore she was one of our young performers, you know, kids. So she started out with us when she was 6 or 7 years old at the Ensemble Theater. So to have her come back to the theater in our 45th anniversary season and be, portray on stage, this is the second professional performance that she's done with us. She played, if anybody saw the play Josephine Tonight that we did pre-COVID, like in 2018, I think, or 2017, she was Josephine Baker. So from Josephine Baker to SBF2, you know, definitely it's Mr. David Yabo says, yeah, I saw that. So, I mean, it just shows you, first of all, how thankful we are as an institution that we have one of our babies, we call them our babies, that grew up with us in the theater and that whose initial skills she learned from us at the ensemble. And then Miss Crystal Ray, who is a teacher of the YP program and who left her place in Mexico or Chicago and just came here on a whim to Houston 10 years ago and said, I want to do art. I want to make art happen. And who has a play that's going to be running at, that's going to be done at 80 players this summer. We just did a Easter play of hers at First Met. It just shows you the kind of synergy that happens in making the art and in being, you know, people that are believe in what we're doing. So I think that her play, Mama Monologues, and the other scenes that we didn't get to do in Single Black Women are the things that she's talking about. That, you know, we just see where the future goes with that with us at the theater.
Okay, that makes sense. And I want to make one comment quickly, and then I want to continue to talk about the training for young people, the theater arts training for young people, because you mentioned Akina was as a young person, you took the training, and so look what it's done for her. But I wanted to ask one question. So Dakina, another one of my favorite scenes was when you were setting up a profile. So you were setting up a dating profile, trying to set up a dating profile.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that. I'm a single Black female. In my past, I have signed up for dating apps. I've deleted them all now. But at one point, that was the way you met people, and that's what you did. So I thought that was an interesting scene, and I thought it was so interesting that I actually wanted to see a date come of it. I wanted to see a date. I wanted to see the date actually transpire, and I thought that would be hilarious because I've been on some pretty hilarious dates from online. So could that have been one of the scenes that was taken out, or did you guys develop the dating part of this this play, or was that never the focus, was that part?
No, that was never going to be one of the scenes that we were going to take out. I think we immediately related to that, especially during a pandemic. I mean, it's just such a huge, you know, phenomenon right now. I have several friends that are, my surprise. I actually have a friend, she and her sister are both married with children. They both met their husbands online. So I'm always floored when I hear those stories. And I love that scene because it's so much fun. It's just so well written. And two, it's definitely of the time. And I think because of, you know, COVID, pre-COVID, during COVID, right now, we are, you know, we had to highlight that moment and have fun with it and make sure that that it was a reality that was there. But we only took out, honestly, we didn't want to take out any of it. The entire play was really, really great. It was just about saving time. But you know, there were a couple of scenes that we just felt like there were some things that were, you know, necessarily needed to be there for story purposes. So that's why those were particular scenes that were chosen. But as far as the dating goes, I mean, that one hit home for me. I myself have tried the online dating very briefly, and it didn't work for me either, Miss Victoria. but you know, it definitely rung true. And I wish we could have explored more of a date. It's not in the script, but the scene right after that, where we're talking about going on the date and, you know, having fun, getting ready for the date and figuring out how much women have to spend to date. Yes. You know, it was just so realistic, and we couldn't believe how much money. I still, to this day, every night that we do that particular scene, I'm like, I cannot believe we spend this much money to look good for these dudes. you know? And then, you know, you grow and you mature and you're like, you know what, I'm going to do it for myself. And so that's where I am now. But the scene unfolds into this really great moment between your best friend, your confidant, and Crystal Ray and I, you know, we try to play it to the best of our ability to make sure, you know, what all goes into getting ready for that. And it's a blast. It really is a blast.
Absolutely. I think you mentioned before that it was so hard to keep a straight face and not break character doing this play. And I can see 1,000% the bloopers. I would love to see the bloopers and outtakes on this, because I can imagine they were great. They were great. And I would love to just see just the improv that went into it. And you say, oh, wait, let's read it. We can't say that. You know, I think it would have been amazing.
Miss Victoria, I'm telling you, that's why I love rehearsal, because during rehearsals, they would just start laughing out of the clear blue. And we would just sit there, and it's infectious, right? Because laughter is infectious. And we would sit there, and then all of a sudden we're in the audience and we're laughing. And we just like, okay, we have to just let this go where it's gonna go, because we got to get it out. And we couldn't rehearse anymore for that moment. We had to just take a break. And then right after we go, okay, let's take 10. And then we'll come back.
And Crystal and I were so great. We were so grateful to Miss Eileen for allowing us the freedom of really getting to play and getting to know each other, because I'm so grateful that you thought we were friends before, but we were not. We did not know each other from Adam, to be honest. And we knew of each other, you know, just from being in the arts. But no, we were really trying to create this best friendship, you know, all throughout our few weeks of rehearsal. And that's, you know, that's not easy when, you know, we really don't have any history together. So we were really grateful for those moments. And we played a lot, and I wish there were bloopers to show you, because it was hysterical. And a bit raw, and Miss Eileen did have to pull us back sometimes. Like, not a piano.
Because they would just like experiment with things and say, okay, we're gonna do. Now we can't do it like that. But that's okay. That's what rehearsal is for. You just figure those things out. I think it all coming from a place of truth, right? I mean, just having a lot of fun. And I think Miss Takina said it so correctly. It's about playing, and that's what rehearsal is. You're playing. You're figuring it out. You're playing at these things, and yet it's so, you know, this is hard. This is hard work. So you're exposing yourself. You're you know, like bouncing things off of other people. You're not sure if it's gonna work. You're trying to figure that out, and that's where we all have to trust each other and just come from the truth that we know as human beings, first of all, and then as Black women, and then as artists. So you got all these different layers that are being put upon us that we've got to mesh together and make this art happen. But we had so much joy doing it, and we're still having joy. When I watch little scenes now, I can tell, you know, when they're really tickled with each other, because they go there and it's like the audience is not even there. Then they remember, oh, the audience is here. I'm really doing a play. I better act like I'm doing the play. You thought I didn't see that? I saw.
I can totally see that. See that. And I tell you, the synergy is on point. Yeah. I have been to several ensemble theater plays over the years, and I tell you, y'all, if you've never been to the ensemble, you need to go to the ensemble. Like, just experience it. It's an experience. Mm-hmm. And what I love about the venue is it's intimate. It's close. You won't be way back in the nosebleed section. There's no nosebleed section. There's no bad seats. All the seats are great seats. Even if you're way in the back, that's probably the best place, is in the back, because you get to see just the whole panoramic view. Just wanted to say, if you've never been, check it out. And then Houston Methodist, we're in a partnership, y'all, with the Ensemble Theatre. So all of our tickets are discounted. So it's really affordable to go see the play. And I actually want to get a group of ladies and gentlemen together from my ERG to go see the play. So yeah. I see Celesta shaking her head yes. So I'm gonna count you in, Celesta. So we want to go see the play. We want to support you all. and we want to make sure that we just support Black art. There's so many ways that we can support you, but dollars and cents is also support. So we need to come out and actually support Black art. And with that support, Miss Eileen and Dakina, can you, I know Dakina, you are coming from a perspective of actually going through the young, I don't even know what it's called, but the theater arts training for young people. You're an alumni of that. And Miss Eileen,
Yeah.
can you tell us more about that? Because I think our viewers, we have one person, Kelly Anderson, said her baby is an ensemble baby. So we have, I know that Crystal Ray was saying how, you know, as a kid, she was probably, I can tell she was probably just super energetic and rambunctious and doing impressions. I can just kind of imagine her being that kid where you're like, Crystal Ray, what if you don't sit down? So if you have a child who has that energy and who has that, you know, personality that's really big, and you don't know what to do with all that energy, maybe they need to be in theater. Maybe that's an avenue or a great way for them to be able to channel that energy. So can you tell us more about that, Miss Eileen? And then Dakina, if we have time, I think we should have time, tell us about your experience so that we can kind of actually know what's happening and when they take the classes.
Sure. Very quickly, 1985, Mrs. Audrey Lawson and myself, we founded the Young Performers Program. And the reason that we did that is because of the fact that we wanted to be able to have a platform and an avenue for young people to be able to get training in theater so that it would be a feeder into the main stage program. And so we train young people in theater, dance, music, creative writing, cultural studies, and technical theater. And it's a year-round program, winter break, spring break, 2 4-week sessions in the summer. And now we've been doing virtual in addition to that. Some of our past ensemble artists are Chandra Wilson from Grey's Anatomy, Ashley Tamar Davis, Jason Durden, who was in Greenleaf. You all may remember him. Brandon Durden, who's on Broadway now doing a show. So there's several, Dakina Moore, Tanisha Ains, several people that are in the arts, but so many that are not in the arts. And what they've said is that being in those programs have allowed them to be able to do the work that they do, whatever their career choice has been. So for us, it's about, you know, being able to provide something for our young people, but also to prepare our young people for the future that they're going to have. And Dakina can talk more about, you know, what it's been like being in that program.
Dakina, let me ask you real quick. You look so familiar. Have I seen you on TV?
Yeah.
I've seen you, yes. What I've seen you walk on stage. I said, I've seen her on TV. I know I have.
Yeah, I've done most of my work has been on Broadway, but I've done a lot of film and television and Broadway tours and you know print work. It's been a really blessed ride. I'm grateful. I played I don't know. I was in Fifth Ward. I played Nia Long's little sister on Third Watch. I was in Joyful Noise, the movie with Queen Latifah and Dolly Parton and Keke Palmer. And I played, I was in Medea's Big Happy Family. A lot of my people recognize me from Medea's Big Happy Family with Tyler and you know, Tamar was also in that. And so yeah, it's been a really fun ride. I originated the roles, and I also originated the role of Talara in Legally Blonde, the musical. I was your only Black blonde on Broadway. So that, you know, those were my starts, my pillars there. But it all honestly started with the YP program at the Ensemble Theatre, and it is why my heart will always be with the ensemble, and why I love to come back and play and be a part of home. It's home for me, to be honest. And such an honor to work with Miss Eileen, who I've looked up to for years. My brother, who's not an actor, who is one of those people that honed so many skills from being a YP young performer, but only did one professional show his entire life, and that's when he was about 6 or 7. He did a show with Eileen that I'm still jealous of to this day. The little boy in Raisin in the Sun with her, and and Phil that does now. He's a skills he also brings back young performer, community really in that, which he gives a lot. Just learning a lot of those skills from being in Miss Morissette. I was a living witness, and then myself, I learned so much early on just as an artist. I was one of those kids like Crystal. Till this day, my second grade teacher, Miss Wilson, she comes to all of my shows pretty much, and she's comes to the ensemble. She's much older now, but she remembers Yank coming to the bath because I sneaked out of her class.
Oh, we lost her, I think.
We lost her. I know her connection was getting a little bit sketchy. I hope she's
Yeah,
able to come back.
It was. But, basically what she was just saying is that, some of the things that she's done, and there she is. You're back, Takina. Your internet was going in and out a little bit.
Sorry, I don't know
That's
what
all
happened.
right.
But yeah, I was just saying I was one of those kids. So so to have a program that that I can take those disciplines that I didn't know what I was doing in the bathroom, and I had to be yanked out of there, performing to myself. I could have a place to come to and hone those skills and really learn what it is to do a monologue, and what it is to sing a song, and what it is to put on a show, and to honestly tell a story. That's where was the beginning of where I learned to tell a story, whether it was through acting or vocal or with my body through dance. And I'm just so grateful. Storytelling was my passion, and I learned it all first at the ensemble, and that's what the YP means to me. Yeah.
You do it very well, and we are thankful for you sharing your talent with us. Y'all, the Ensemble Theater is at the upper echelon of theater. It's there. I'm never disappointed. I'm always walking away from the ensemble saying they did it again. They did it again. And it doesn't matter what play it is, they're always amazing. They're flawless. So I'm going to conclude this with information on how to contact, how to get your tickets first. So Houston Methodist, as I said, we're in partnership with the Ensemble Theater. And so that means that we get discount tickets, guys. So I do plan on trying to put a group together to go see the play, and perhaps we can arrange that. Okay, we can arrange that so we can all go as a group to go see the play. But if you would like to go see the play as an individual, that's okay too. So we just want to let you know that the Ensemble Theater, there is a code. So when you go to the Ensemble Theater and you go to checkout, there is a discount code that you'll put in, and I'll type it here. Give me one
It's in the chat already. We just
put
put
it
it
in the chat
in
already.
there.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that. So go ahead. There's no excuses, guys, not to go to the ensemble. Everyone's open for business now. We've all been vaccinated, and it's time to get back to life. It's time to enjoy life again, y'all. So I want to encourage everyone, if you love the theater, and let me tell you something, it's not what you think. You might think it's going to be a lot of, they're going to overkill it with a lot of music, a lot of musicals, and a lot of that. That's not what they do here. It's a beautiful mixture of humor and music and professionalism. So just don't miss out on this. And the play is running now through May the 8th. So we have a little time to go see it. We're going to get our group together. And I just wanted to thank you all. Thank you, Miss Eileen, for blessing us with this interview, taking the time out of your busy schedule. I know you guys will probably have a performance either tonight or sometime really soon. No, not tonight.
Not tonight.
Not tonight. Okay. But I know you have some coming up this week. So I appreciate you taking your time out of your schedule. And thank you so much, Mr. Keena. Blessings. And I look forward to seeing. I think I'm just going to go see the play again. So I really want to go see the play again. So that's why I'm kind of getting this group together. So I have an excuse to see it again. So.
Please come see it again, please. You hit a point earlier that warmed my heart. Throughout rehearsal, we kept saying we want the audience to feel like they are the third homegirl up there with us. So that meant a lot that y'all felt that way, that you felt that way. That's what we wanted. So we want you get to leave thinking we want to hang with them. you know, so thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely, yes, absolutely. So let's all go to the theater and let's all support the Black arts. And I just want to say thank you all for continuously putting out great content, and thank you for sharing your time with us and your experiences with us. And little old Houston, Texas, who knew? Little old Houston, Texas, we got all of this right in our backyard. So I'm really privileged and I'm really excited to say that. So thank you all for joining this interview. We're going to try to make this a regular thing where I interview Miss Eileen Morris, who is the director, and we get to hear all of the tidbits and all of the behind the scene information on the plays that she puts on. So thank you guys and have a great day.
Thank you so
And
much.
I'll see you at the theater.
Thank you.